Those flat owners caught in the cladding crisis who've now been told that they will get money to help, but it will depend how tall their building is. And that means many will still lose out.
Yeah, 3.5 years after the Grenfell tragedy, the government will fund the removal and replacement of unsafe cladding on high-rise buildings. But for those facing other fire safety issues after Grenfell, there seems little help or offers of loans.
We'll be hearing from a cladding campaigner after this report from our correspondent, Elaine Wilcox.
With financial support for cladding remediation on buildings between 4 and 6 stories.
They watched the long-awaited announcement with disbelief and anger. They both live in city centre apartments in Manchester, built by the same developer, but the government's offer of help is very different, based on the height of the buildings.
I think the announcement was pitiful, to be honest. I'm very, very pleased for Mike, because Design House, it sounds, might get some extra support, but there's this arbitrary cut-off of 18 metres that means that Market Square here doesn't get the support.
The government says low and medium blocks pose less risk, but fire ripped through the Cube student block in Bolton as quickly as the Grenfell fire, and it's below 18 metres. Much of the announcement today concentrated on cladding, but these buildings have safety defects in their structure and insulation.
There's fire breaks missing, which should be installed behind the cladding areas. That's to prevent fire, setting fire to every level of the building at one time.
I appreciate the frustration, the worry, and at times the despair that they feel.
Michael works in financial services. His apartment is currently worthless, and if the bills continue to rise, he faces bankruptcy and will lose his job. And even though the Minister said he understands this is a very stressful situation, do you think he does?
I don't think he's in a position where he's going to lose his home or his job due to this, so I don't think he really does understand.
Jake Brammer bought his apartment on Salford Quays post-Grenfell and was assured it was safe. It isn't.
They're completely ignoring that there are other fire safety defects involved in these buildings, and I think this is a sticking plaster approach again from the government. They're going to need to revisit this because they're going to end up with hundreds of thousands of bankruptcies.
Take this development. Owners are asking, how is this fair? This building may get government support, but this one, which is lower, owners are being asked to take out a loan to fix the repairs. Neither are celebrating today as their costs continue to rise and they can't sell. Elaine Wilcox, ITV News, Manchester.
Well, Rebecca Fairclough is a lawyer and works with the campaign group Manchester Cladiators.
She joined us a short time ago to give us her reaction.
Obviously, we're grateful that more money has been provided by the government, but it's simply not enough money. And there are lots of issues which are not covered by the funding. So there's tens of thousands of leaseholders who go to bed tonight knowing that they're still facing huge bills.
Can you understand the logic behind the government thinking here and what's driven the government to this ruling?
I think the government have considered which buildings they think are the highest risk. But the issue with that is that people are in this situation because of guidance brought in by the government. So on one hand, they're saying that all these problems are high risk, but then they're only providing funding for some of the issues. So, we really struggle to understand how the government can leave so many people behind.
I mean, £3.5 billion is a substantial amount of money, Rebecca. It is a significant investment, but what has been the human cost? Can you put a price on it?
I mean, you can't put a price on the human impact. Every day that goes by feels like a lifetime for these people. You've got people who can't move for jobs, people who can't afford to have children. The mental health impact on people is just, immeasurable.
He also said he appreciates the frustration, the worry, the despair felt by leaseholders. Do you think he does?
We struggle to believe that he does. We've been trying to get our message across for well over a year now. We had a meeting with Mr. Jenrick before Christmas and we felt that he just didn't really listen. If he did listen, then we feel that the package today would have been much better and would have helped more people.
There are people, though, who'd say this is really bad timing for you. We're in the middle of pandemic. There isn't a bottomless pit of money, is there, for public spending? Maybe the country can't afford this extra cost that you're talking about.
Yeah, we understand it's really, bad timing for there to be this, building safety scandal, and obviously at the same time as COVID. But also, the government can find money when they need to for other things. For example, I think it's £4 billion they've spent doing up Parliament, which is essentially their office. There is money there, and there are other ways in which they can recover the money, such as, levying developers. So we think they need to find the money to make people's homes safe urgently.
And Rebecca, just finally, what do you think should happen now?
We think the government should reconsider the plans that were announced today. They need to increase the fund, and they need to extend the scope of it so it covers all building safety issues, so people can live in their homes safely and without having to pay for somebody else's mistakes.
Rebecca, thank you.
Thank you.